I'm gonna take the mic. And I wanted to sit down this morning as WhollyPeace's first video. And I wanted to share something with you that I was going through, and I needed my own gentle reminder. And taking some wisdom and some words from Rubin, Creative Act, A Way of Being, where he talks about creating. And it's about page 49. He says, living life as an artist is a practice. You are either engaging in the practice or you're not. It makes no sense to say that you're good at it. It's like saying, I'm not good at being a monk. You're either living as a monk or you're not. We tend to think of the artist's work as the output. The real work of the artist is a way of being in the world. So I was reminded yesterday in creating and wanting to create more content for WhollyPeace and just build out this idea of peace, and my view of peace being holistic and whole. I'm branding WhollyPeace as a universal guide for the unconscious. And I was a bit unconscious yesterday, but I'm conscious now. And remembering that sometimes we have to step away from creating and just allow flow to come in. I believe I was just saturated with a long list of ideas, things I wanted to get out, and maybe feeling an urgency to create or just get things out and just get it out of my head into, I guess, the material plane. But I was reminded yesterday to practice stepping away and getting to a place of stillness. And from that place of stillness, getting to a place of inner listening, and in order to get to a place of flow. Because sometimes I think we can get creatively stagnant, or sometimes all creators, God's creation, of wanting things to go a certain way, or we have this picture of how things should look. But sometimes, and maybe most times, it's okay to have an idea, but we have to let it breathe for a bit. And giving it space and time, we can really understand, well, I'm given this idea. Now what am I as the creator to do with it? And just to really explore the creation and your part in it. And so I slept on it. And from a place of stillness this morning, through yoga, I was able to get this idea to sit down and just video and just talk and just get to a place of understanding that I was unconscious, or just needing to remember the fact of stillness, allowing that idea to breathe, and in order to get into a place of flow, and from that flow state, then move, create. And the idea of also being able to surrender, because there's so many things that we can try and control and try and force, but at some point we have to detach and truly let go. And I needed that reminder. I needed that wake up. I needed that understanding that sometimes, and most times, the best practices are stepping away, detaching, if you will, giving things room to breathe and see, in order to hop back in the stream and move with flow. And maybe that's not maybe, I know sometimes it is the hardest part of living and creating and moving day to day. It's just stepping away, giving things time to breathe, detaching, becoming unattached, and surrender or let it go. I believe it's all the same. It's all the same principle. Maybe it's hard for the idea that, or the thought that I'm giving up, or I'm failing, or expectations, things have to go a certain way, or have a personal picture of how things should go or should look. Those ideas and those thoughts maybe get in the way of our thinking. But when you really go in and practice the principle of surrender and give it time, whatever timeline or whatever that time is, and then you come back, and when I come back, and see the flow and move with the flow, and things move a lot easier, or they feel so much better. I remember, and one of the stories that stick out to me about surrender is Oprah telling her story, which she's told quite a few times, about her getting the part in The Color Purple. And she calls it The Color Purple story. How she read the book and loved it. And she went and bought all these copies for everyone else, for all her friends, so everyone could read it because she loved it so much. And then she heard they were going to make a movie. And so she, I guess, petitioned or did everything she could, or wanted to put it out that she wanted to be a part of this movie. Even if it's just being a part of the crew, she wanted to be a part of the movie. And so Quincy Jones was in Chicago and saw her on TV during the earlier part of the Oprah Winfrey show. And he saw her. I don't think he didn't know who she was, but he saw her on television and said, that's Sophia, or I don't know if he knew Sophia, but that she should be cast in the movie. And when she met with the casting director, or they were told her, well, she did the casting and she didn't hear anything back. And so she reached out because she didn't hear anything back, and they told her, don't call us, we'll call you. Why are you calling us? And so, feeling that she didn't get it, she thought maybe all these thoughts, it was too big, or it just wasn't good enough. And so she decided to go to a fat farm in order to address her feelings, her emotions, and to lose some weight. And so she tells a story that one day she was running around the track and it started to rain, and she stayed out there, and she was just in her head about trying to really let it go that she didn't get the part because she heard nothing. And at the point started to rain, she was crying in the rain. And I think she said maybe she was the only one out on the track. And she got to a point, she was singing, I surrender all. And to a point to where she fully felt the release of it. And she really let it go. She gave it to God and realized it's okay. And she says at that very moment is when a lady came out to the track calling her. And it was Oprah. I was like, Oprah? And I'm calling her. And they said somebody's on the phone for you. And I believe it was Steven Spielberg, and said that she got the part. And they say, well, I heard you were at a fat farm. If you lose a pound, you could lose this part. And she says she left and got some Dairy Queen or some ice cream just to make sure that she didn't lose the part that she wanted. But she got it when she fully surrendered. And that's the biggest lesson for me as well. I've had so many instances in my life to where I tried to force my hand or force the situations to go my way. And at some point, you get to the end of trying to fight a losing battle. So it seems that you have to walk away and say, I surrender. And what I've learned, that surrender is not defeat, but surrender is an offering up to God, to the universe, to a higher power, of saying, maybe I've tried to box and work it so much my way that, you know what, I've run out of energy, I've run out of resources, time, or the ideas. You know what, I truly release it and let it go. And it's just imagining offering whatever it is, mentally, physically, up to God to work out. And my testimony is, in those moments have come the greatest of victories, the greatest of opportunities, of just miracles, of things that I could never imagine would happen the way that they've gone, or just because my limited thinking is here. But God sees the bigger picture. And so I'm always reminded that God has so much in store. And sometimes we need a little pain to push us and make us present to realize the fact. or we need a reminder in whatever way it comes. But there's so much power in the surrender. There's so much power in the awareness of that. There's so much power in the consciousness of that. And there's so much power when you understand that surrender is a tool that you have that maybe some use better than others, but it's the one tool that is such a powerful tool that we maybe don't use as much as we should. So I'm reminded that in this place of surrender, flow comes, peace comes, and the greater outcome can come. Because me trying to work it out versus God, higher power, trying to work it out. So this is the view. Maybe this is the tool, surrender. So that's my story. For now, I am building and creating WhollyPeace as a tool for myself. But in this creating these reminders and these tools and this platform, this community for what it is, I believe that this message will find the people or the persons that it needs to at the divine time. And as we curate, as I listen, and as I get still, and as I surrender more, we shall see what comes. So, as another reminder, as I was flipping through this book, I saw another quote. Everyone is a creator. Of course, we're God's creation. But there was another quote. It says, "The person who makes something today isn't the same person who returns to work tomorrow." So, changed I am. We all are changing and growing. Come grow with me. So, with that said, there was a song in NDRE. So with that, there's a song in NDRE. There's hope. So just a reminder, it doesn't cost a thing to smile. You don't have to pay to laugh. You better thank God for that. So there's hope.